Morning, boys. Today we will see the chapter number 8. Chapter number 8 stands for, the topic of chapter number 8 is sampling technique and statistical inference. So first you must know that this is very simple. It totally depends upon our day-to-day life. Clear? So first we start with the populations. To apply any technique, you must know what is meant by populations. Population is nothing but the individuals, you and me and your parents, my parents and my neighbors, all put together is called what? Populations. Clear? But you cannot claim that everybody have same character, everybody have same weight, same height. So that is not possible. But the group of peoples which consist of the individuals like me and my wife, my daughter and son, and my parents and my brothers. So these the group of peoples, individuals. I am one individual. My wife is an individual. My son and daughters are individual persons. So the individual persons coming into on a group is called what? Populations. That is the meaning for the question number 1. Then what is meant by sample? Sample I have to take one particular person. So suppose if there is 100 individuals, the group of 100 individuals called populations. In that population, I am selecting a few. So you cannot, there are so many possibilities. You may have chance of selecting the first person and fifth person, 10th person, but equal interval. Clear? Or you can take only some 10 person and randomly. Clear? So that is random will come later. So you are selecting 10 persons. The selection of the 10 person, we have some technique. Clear? Lottery method, some random numbers. By using random numbers and lottery method or lottery method, we will select the person. We will select the number of person. So those are called sample. What statistics? To know what is the reality of what is the reality of the population. Whether something is happened, for example, disease. Whether the disease is increase or decrease. Whether that the deficiency, vitamin deficiency is low or more. So all these will be classified by using some calculation. Those type of calculations are called statistic. Parameter, that you have to define the parameters. That we have to fix it. That is our wish. So now we have, based on the concept, we have simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, systematic random sampling. Stratified random sampling is you take one group, one district. You have to divide the district by number of for example, if you take Salem district, in the Salem district you are allotted one Amapet colony, Sevapet, Gogai, Anadanapatti, Gogai. So you are taking the sum, you are dividing that entire district population into some small group. You are dividing with that. So when you divide this one, you may have all the community peoples. Clear? You cannot claim that only one particular community people or particular religious people will be there in the place. So it will be mixed up. So you are dividing that one into subgroups. In that subgroups you have to take some sample. So stratified means first population. From the population you are dividing the population into subgroups. From the subgroup you have to take samples. That sample, the subgroups are called strata, and you are taking sample from that is called stratified sampling. Clear? So that stratified random sampling is very useful and it is very convenient one. You can get exactly accuracy. Clear? So but if you are not able to divide properly, then you will get wrong information. Then your statistical report will be false one. Clear? That is for stratified sample 1. And systematic. Systematic means what? Everything you have to do systematic. For example, our unit test, our YouTube classes. It will go on systematic. So there won't be any disturbance. So that is very simple also. Cost wise, manpower, cost, everything will be simple. If you go for systematic sampling, what is mean by systematic? What is the procedure to systematic? Suppose you take one sample, one big population, divide the population into equal intervals. That's what we studied continuous data. You learned in the lower classes as 0 to 10, 10 to 20, isn't it? So this will comes in systematic sampling. Because the size of the class size is how much? 10. So difference is 10-10. So this will comes under systematic sampling. So by applying the systematic sampling, you will get the exact result. But if you make any mistakes, if you are not able to divide, so you cannot divide each by in the whole number. It may be some decimal value will come, isn't it? So when you divide 10 by 3, you will not get exactly the whole number. You will get some decimal value, isn't it? So this will be disturbed. This will not give exactly accuracy. So when you divide the total population, for example, for 10 by 2, you will get exactly how much? 5. So in such a case, you will get exactly accuracy. You will get accuracy value for statistics measures. But if you are not divide that population, entire populations properly, then you will get wrong results. So this is the only disadvantages in stratified, that is systematic random sampling. So based on that, we have some problems. So random number. Random number is nothing but lottery method. What is lottery method? For example, when you are in the lower classes, you are all playing with by taking small bit of papers. In that paper, you are writing some name and you are put it in one box. Then you are shuffling very nicely. Then you are thrown outside, that is on the table or somewhere. Then you are asked to pick up anything, isn't it? That is called what? Lottery method. But that is not, that will be very simple and easy, but that lottery method is only suitable for 100% or 30%. So if it is lakhs of people, so lottery method is not possible. So in that they will bring one more concept is called random number. So there are two methods to simplify it, to know the result, that is lottery method and random number. Lottery method is suitable only for the number of size will be, samples are so less, but whereas random number you can use it for more number of samples. For random numbers, we are following only Tippett's random number, Tippett's random number or Tippett's random number. That's very simple. There will be box, sum number 16 is given. See the textbook because there is no much problems in this one. So sum number 16, using the following Tippett's random number table, draw a sample of 10 3-digit number. That should be even number. So if it is 3-digit number, you have to take first 2 digits. For example, 2952. What is the next number is given? 6641. So they are asked to find out 3-digit even number. So you have to take only 3-digit. You may take anywhere you can take. Doesn't matter. First you start with the row Y. First row. Write down that 3-digit even number. You take only first. This is not an even number. This is what? Odd number. So this is no need. This is an even number. What is the next one? 399. 3992. I am writing down only the first row alone. Based on that you have to find out 97, 92, 7, 9, 6, 8, 7, 9, 6, 9. The next one 5, 9, 11. Then 3, 1, 7, 0. Then what about last one? 2, 6, 9, 3. So to find the 3-digit even number, you take only 3 digit. So what are the even numbers? 1, 2 in the first row. So we come to the next row. You go for either row wise to select the random number or column wise select the random number or diagonal wise, your wish. You will go for either row wise or column wise. Clear? So that is your wish. You have to select 3-digit even number. To check 3-digit, you have to take 3-digit. If you want to find only 2-digit, you have to take only 2-digit. Clear? So they will ask maximum 2-digit, 3-digit and 4-digit. So based on that we can do it. Clear? So now sum number 17. We will go to a little bit the sum number 17, that we have the formulas in the page number. Some formula, standard sampling errors. So that we will have to, you first know that what is meant by sampling error. Sampling error means If you are taking the sample in the proper way, there won't be any sampling error. If there is any problem in the sample, for example, you are asked to collect the data of each and every family's income and the business. So if you go to the house, if you collect properly that data about the income and the business, how many members in the family, how many are working in the government sector, how many are working in the non-government sector, so that will be very, very easy to find out. So there won't be any error. Suppose if I plan to visit the next house, when the next house is locked, so what we'll do, simply asking some others, they will give 50% is correct, remaining 50% will be false data. If you are not approached there, then myself itself I wrote something, oh, this may be this person. So the entirely there are two possibilities. One is wrong information, that is called sampling errors, and another one is that one who collected the data, they itself conveniently they put that information. That next house of the previous house giving the wrong information is called sampling errors. Non-sampling error is that myself, one who visited that house, they itself entering the wrong information. So these are called non-sampling errors. So you have from formula to find out sampling error, that is sample mean sigma by root n, formula 1 sigma by root n, formula 2 square root of pq by n, then third one that square root of sigma square by square root of this overall, that's 2n. So these three formulas are mainly used. We have still more 4 problems that is not there in the exercise, but anyhow you have to memorize. So these 3 problems only are going to used maximum. This you can use when you are asked to find out standard, that is sampling error for mean. This is the formula to find standard error for mean. This is the formula to find standard error for probability or proportional. When proportional is given, I told you already how do you find out proportional? Out of, there is no mean and standard deviation is given, then you have to use the second formula. This is need for only proportional. Once you know p value, you can easily find out what is the value for q by using 1 minus p formula. So the first one stands for when sample mean is given. The second one is used for only for proportional. Third one is used for when standard deviation is. When you ask to find out the sample standard deviation for standard error, third formula. This is dealt with the standard deviation, this is dealt with the mean. This is for proportional one. So sum number 17, a wholesaler in apples claims that only 4% of the apples supplied by him are defective. So how many percentages are defective? 4%. That is sum number 17. P is equal to 0.04, therefore Q is equal to 1 minus 0.04, which will give you 0.96. So you can take P is equal to 36 by 600 also, you get same answer. Instead of taking the percent, you can take 36 by 600, you will get the same answer. Calculate the standard error concerning the good apples. So there is no mean and standard deviation, therefore once it is given proportional, you have to take only the second formula. The standard error is equal to square root of PQ by N. P is 0.4 into 0.96 by, what is for N? Sample is given very clearly, that is N is 600. Just use calculator, multiply these two, divide the answer by 600, multiply these two, divide the answer by 600, then you take square root, you will get answer 0.00 8. That's all. Very simple. You must memorize the formula and select which formula is suitable for the given question. Here P is given. Once if you know PQ, then you have to take only the second formula. First formula is suitable for only that standard error for mean. Third formula is stands for standard error for standard deviations. Clear? So very simple problems in this exercise. Even the next exercise also. Only the theoretic part it will be more. A sample, sum number 18. Sum number 18. A sample of 1000 students whose mean weight is 119 pounds from a school in Tamil Nadu state was taken, and their average weight was found to be 120 lps with a standard deviation of 30 lps. Calculate standard error of mean. That is very important. You are asked to find out standard error of mean. I said this is the formula to find standard error for mean. This is the formula to find standard error for standard deviation. So don't confuse. So this is the formula to find standard error for mean. This is proportional. When mean and standard deviation is not given, take second formula. Third formula is suitable for only standard deviation to find standard error. Now sum number 18. So sample is how much? N is equal to 1000. Sigma standard deviation. It is given standard deviation is given 30. That's all. Take the first formula. Standard error is equal to sigma by root n. 30 by square root of 1000. Simplify, you will get answer 0.9487. Clear? So you have to take square root of 1000, then divide 30 by that answer. First you have to take square root of 1000, then 30 by that value, you will get answer. Then sum number 19. A random sample of 60 observation was drawn from large population and its standard deviation was found to be 2.5. The sample is given 60. Its standard deviation is given 2.5. Calculate the suitable standard error. This sample is taken from the population with what? Standard deviations. So you are asked to find out the standard error by using standard deviations. Clear? That is very important. You are asked to find out standard error by using standard deviations. See the last line. Calculate the suitable standard error that this sample is taken from the population with the standard deviations. That is very, very important. Sum number 19. That is this formula, standard error is equal to square root of 6. So sigma is 3 because you are asked to find out that standard deviation, standard error for standard deviation, that is 3. Your sample is 60. Just you substitute in that formula standard error sigma square 3 square by 2 into 60. 3 square by 2 into 60. Simplify, you will get 0.2734. You have to use the formula, that is square root of 9 by 120 is equal to 0.2734. So divide these two and take square root, you will get required answer. Now sum number 20. Sum number 20. There is no mean and standard deviation. See the question number 20. In a sample of 4000 population from a village, 230 are found to be eaters of vegetarian items and rest will be non-vegetarian items. Compute the standard error assuming that both vegetarian and non-vegetarian foods are equally popular in that village. Equal probability for non-vegetarian and vegetarian. There is no mean and standard deviation. Therefore, which formula? Third formula, P is equal to how many are vegetarian? 230 considered as vegetarian out of 400. Clear? So what is the answer? P, that is 0.58. Then you have to find out Q, that is 1 minus P, you will get 0.42, that is non-vegetarian. Substitute in this formula, you will get 0.58 into 0.42 by N. What is your N? 400. Simplify, you will get answer. Just you have to simplify, write down the answer. Clear? Now we go to the next exercise. Boys, you have to simplify and write down the answer. Don't leave it as it is. Just you have to multiply these two, divide the answer by 400, then you take square root, you will get answer. Then exercise number 8.2. It is called hypothetical sense. That is exercise number 8.2. That is estimation, statistical inference. What is meant by statistical inference? That is very simple. Statistical inference stands for estimation as well as testing of hypothesis. Clear? So, for testing of hypothesis, we have more theoretical part. The theoretical part I will teach you later. Clear? Once we complete the portion, then we will go for the remaining classes is only the theoretical part. I will explain the theoretical part after completing that problems. Clear? So, we actually in the examples some concepts are given, but that is not there in the exercise. Clear? So, once we completed this exercise, then I will teach some examples from the chapter number 8, because that is totally different from the exercise. Now, null hypothesis. What is meant by hypothesis? After getting the result, for example, when the Salem district total average for literacy, whatever it is considered, is 50 point something. Consider 15.94. In Salem district, the literacy percentage is 50.94. I am taking one particular village. Clear? Let's say A village. There I found the literacy percentage is about 49.50. This is an example. Now I have to know that whether this literacy rate should be taken from this population or not. Just you have to check whether it is belongs to this category or some other category. To test whether it is correct or wrong with help of the total literacy percentage, for which we are using some technique is called testing the hypothesis. That is null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. Only two possibilities, whether you have to say this is wrong or correct. Only two possibilities, isn't it? Whatever the instance taken, either you have to accept or reject. That is two possibilities. That is called H naught. H naught is called null hypothesis. Hypothesis. Clear? That is denoted by H naught. H1 is alternative hypothesis. What is meant by alternative hypothesis? If you are accept this one, you have to reject H1. If you accept H1, you have to reject H naught. That is called alternative. Clear? So we have three types of testing that hypothesis. Two-tailed test, single-tailed, that is right-tailed test or left-tailed test. But normally we are using only two-tailed test. Clear? So right-tailed and left-tailed I will explain after completing this chapter. When you go for theoretical part, I explain that both category, that is right-handed tails or left-handed tails. But now we are using now two-tailed test. Clear? So question number, yes, sample of 14. Question number 14. A sample of 100 items. Draw from a universe with mean value 4 and standard deviation is 3. Has the mean values 3.5. Is the difference in the mean significant? A sample of 100 items of the mean is 3.5. So you have to consider, this is the formula, Z is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by n. You have to define H naught, that is This is called null hypothesis. This is called alternative hypothesis. Both null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, you must take only the population mean. You don't take sample mean. To assuming H0 and H1, that is null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, you must keep H0, that is mu is equal to H1, mu not equal to. What is the meaning that? This mean, if you accept H0 after doing some, applying the T statistics, then that population mean is correct, the sample mean is suitable, no difference. If you are accept H1, then the population mean is not suitable for the sample mean, or sample mean does not match with population mean. That is the rule. So you have to testing whether the population mean, the sample mean is taken from the population or population mean is taken from the sample mean, and vice versa. You have to check your answer whether it is correct or wrong by considering H0 such that mu is equal to H1 such that mu not equal to. Clear? So this is null hypothesis, this is alternative hypothesis. We have some two different concepts, type 1 error, type 2 error, all that we will see in that completion of the problems. Clear? So is that? So you must know, first you have to write down the information. What is X bar? X bar is sample mean, not only for this problem. In statistics, X bar is always stands for sample mean. Mu is always stands for population mean. Mu is always stands for population mean. Clear? So standard deviation, it may be sometimes sample standard deviation or population standard deviations. When that population standard deviation is not given, only sample standard deviation is given, you have to take both as sigma. Clear? When both standard deviation is given, standard deviation is given for both sample as well as the population, in that case you have to take sigma as population, that is sigma as standard deviation for population, not for the sample. Are you clear? So if it is given standard deviation for sample, when standard deviation for population is not given, you take the sample standard deviation as a population standard deviations. When both standard deviation for both sample and population, when the standard deviation is given, then you have to take only the standard deviation from the populations, not from the sample. Are you clear? When standard deviation for the sample, standard deviation for the population, it is given, you take only standard deviation for population. Don't take standard deviation for sample. When standard deviation is given only for sample, then you can consider the standard deviation for the sample to be the standard deviation for population. When the standard deviation sample is not given, when the standard deviation population alone given, so you can take sigma. Clear? Only three possibilities. Better you can keep the mind, standard deviation is only stands for population. When standard deviation given for sample, you can consider the sample, standard deviation for sample as population standard deviation, if it is not given. Clear? When both the standard deviation is given, you have to take only the population standard deviation as sigma. Here n is 100, in the sum number 14, n is 100, sample mean, a sample of 100 comma, you have to leave the sentence, has mean 6.3. So X bar, the inverse means what? Total. Total mean is, that is mu is equal to 4 and the standard deviation of the population is given as 3. Just to substitute in this formula, Z is equal to 3.5 minus mu, that is 4 by sigma 3 by square root of how much? 100. Just you have to simplify. First you have to subtract these two, you will get minus 0.5, then 0.3. Then you have to divide, you will get minus of, what is the answer? I am using only straight away the answer. Clear? So I don't know calculator, please use the calculator and write down the answer. Minus 1.6 667. So modulus of Z. What is the meaning for modulus? When you use the modulus, then the minus will become plus. So modulus of minus 1.67 is equal to 1.667. Now I am using the two-tailed test, not for one single test. Clear? I am using only two-tailed test. So by using the two-tailed test, you have to take on the same formula. Singles, right-tailed or left-tailed, I will teach you later. Clear? So now I got answer 1.667. So what is that answer? Is the difference in the mean significant? There is no percentage is given. Actually, they will give the testing that percentage 1%, 5%, 10%. Clear? The tabular column is given in that page number normal probability tables. Two-tailed test. I am taking only two-tailed test. Right-tailed test, left-tailed test. I will explain during that while I am explaining the theoretical part. Mostly you can use only right, that is two-tailed test. The value is given 1%, 5%, 10% and 2%. I am taking the only two-tailed. This is nothing but 99%. This is 95%. This is 90%. 98%. The values I am writing now only for two-tailed, 1% or 99%, both are same only. That is 2.58, this is 1.96, 10% is given 1.64 and 2% is given 2.33. You have to memorize. You have to memorize all the values. 1% value as well as 99% values for 2 stands for 2.58. For 95% or 5%, 1.96. So you have to memorize and find out. Now, modulus of which I got 1.67. Now I would like to check. No percentage is given in the question. So you have to check this both by 5% and also 1%. Better you can test this problem when percentage is not mentioned, like 1%, 5%. You please check both consistency. Clear? So at 1% of level of significance, LOS, that is called L of level of significance. What is the value? 1% value. 1% value is 2.58. That is modulus of Z is equal to 2.58. But this is greater than which one? Your answer is less than, that is your answer is less than 2.58, 2.58 more. So when your answer is more, that is more than 2.58, then you have to reject. Here your answer is less than 2.58, therefore you have to accept H0. H0 accept. Boys, when your answer is less than that percentage value, then you have to accept. Your answer is 1.667. At 1%, your answer is less than 2.58. 2.58 greater than 1.667. So your answer is less than 2.58. Accept. Now we will go for at one more 5% level of significance, LOS. Modulus of it. What is the answer for 5%? 1.96. What will be your answer? 1.667. Which one is greater? This is smaller and your value 1.96 greater than 1.667. Therefore, again you have to accept H0. So in both cases it will be accepted. If it is coming more than, your answer is more than this one, then you have to reject H0. Clear? So in both cases you have to accept H0. Now sum number 15, we have only 2 problems left. Clear? So sum number 15, same concept. Very simple. If the question is not mentioned, the level of significance for at 1% or 5%, 10% or 2%, you must Find yourself for both 1% and 5%. Sum number 15. A sample of 400 individuals found to be mean 67.47. Can it be reasonably regarded as a sample from the large population with the mean height 67.39 inches and standard deviation is 1 point? So sample mean is x bar. X bar is given 67.47. X bar is sum number 15. X bar is 67.47. And standard deviation for the population is given 1.30 and mu is equal to that population mean is given 67.39. So you have to define first H naught. Always H naught, H1 stands for only the population mean. Mu is equal to 67.39, mu not equal to 67.39. This I am accepted, this is not accepted. That is the meaning. Now Z formula is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n. What is the x bar? 67.47 minus 67.39 by sigma is given already, that is 1.30 by square root of what is your sample? Sample is given 400. So just you have to simplify by using the calculator. I will write only the answers alone for the question number 15. You will get 1.231, that is Z. Modulus of it is equal to 1.23. This is very important. If you stop after this, they will reduce 1 mark. You have to take modulus of Z, that is 1.231. Now you are asked to find nothing. There is no percentage asked. So again you go for at 1%. At 1%, what is the value for Z? 2.58. Now you say 2.58 is greater than 1.231, which implies H not accept. Then you have to check again that another one, 5%. Modulus of it, where is 5%? 1.96. Again your value is less than 1.96. So which implies again H not accept. So when the percentage is not mentioned, you have to check both 1% and 5%. That is better. Clear? So this is the calculation. Please don't write down the answer. Check your calculations. This is very important. This will carry 1 mark. Formula carry 1 mark. Answer is 1 mark. Modulus of Z is 1 mark. The result is 1 mark. So you will get 5 marks. Clear? So be careful and don't simply write down answer alone. This is very simple exercise. Only thing you have to cautious about the sign and understanding what is x bar and mu bar. Sum number 16. The average score on a nationality administrative aptitude test was 76 and the corresponding standard deviation is 8. In order to evaluate a state's education system, the scores of 100 of the state students were randomly selected. These students had an average score 72. Test the significance level at 0.05. What is mean by 0.05? This is increment 5%. So in this question you have to test only at 5%. It is given average for national, that is mu, sum number 16. Mu is equal to 76. National wise average, that is mu. Standard deviation is 8. Then sample, they took some sample from the state wise. Sample mean is 72. Then number of sample is 100. Clear? Now is that first you have to define H naught, H1. Mu is equal to 76. Mu not equal to 76. Z is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n. What is where x bar? X bar is 72. Mu is 76. Sigma is 8 by square root of 100. So simplify, you will get minus 5. Then you have to find out modulus of Z is equal to 5. They are asked to check only at 5%. Therefore, you can write at 5% level of significance. Modulus of visit. What is the value for 5%? 1.96 is less than 5. Your answer is more than 1.96. Therefore, you have to reject. When your answer is less than that value, you have to accept. When your answer calculated value is more than the given value, then you have to reject H naught. Clear? So your answer is more than 1.96. Therefore, you have to reject. Then last problem of this exercise. That is sum number 17. Sum number 17. This is very simple. The mean breaking strength of the cables supplied by the manufacturer is 1800 with the standard deviation. By a new technique in the manufacturing process, it is claimed that the breaking strength of the cable has increased. In order to test this claim of sample 50, it is found that the mean breaking strength is 1850. Clear? So now X bar is sample mean is 1850. Then the total mean is given 1800. Then the standard deviation is given, sigma is 100. What is the sample? Sample is 50. So just you have to define H naught, H1. Mu is equal to 1800, mu not equal to 1800. Then Z is equal to X bar minus mu by sigma by root n. X bar is 1850 minus 1800 by what is sigma? Sigma is 100 by square root of 50. So just you have to apply the calculations part, you will get 3.536. Clear? Now you are asked to check at 1%. You are asked to check at 1%. At 1% of level of LOS means level of significance. So modulus of Z is equal to, at 1% what is the value? 2.58. But what is your answer? So we didn't find. Modulus of Z is equal to 3.536. That is very important. Modulus of Z. Your answer is 3.56. This is called calculated value. Calculated value is more than the given value. That is 3.536. Your answer is more than 2.58. When your answer is more than this rate, that given value, then you have to write H naught rejected or reject H naught. H naught rejected. Clear? So when your answer is less than the percentage value, you accept. When your answer is more than the percentage value, you have to reject. Clear? So that's all, boys. We will see the remaining, that is theoretical part, and after completing the portions. Clear? So next class we will start chapter number 9. Thank you, boys.